Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sea Sports Media Cheltenham November meeting preview. We're going to have a mixture of lifestyle and racing. And in the next half hour or so, coming up for you to enjoy, we have the 14-time champion trainer, Betfair ambassador, and 4-time Paddy Power Gold Cup winning trainer, Paul Nicholls, joining us alongside Richard Hoiles, my ITV colleague and top commentator. Our partners for today's show are Holland Cooper, who are taking the fashion world by storm. Jade, Holland Cooper will talk all things Cheltenham fashion. They're local there and a huge part of the community. I am passionate about all things Hampshire, and we're going to learn about the joys of English sparkling wine with Will Perkins, who's the winemaker from Louis, Pommery, England. Could be the perfect way to celebrate a few winners at Cheltenham this weekend. Also joining us will be Michael Shinners from Sky Bet to talk about the betting for the 3 days at Cheltenham, and the Holland Cooper ambassador, Paddy Power ambassador, Harry Cobden, to tell us about the rides he's most looking forward to. All we ask for you at home is to enjoy the show, and please, if you can, like and subscribe to the Sea Sports Media YouTube channel, where there's loads of content for you to enjoy, and by subscribing, you'll be able to hopefully see lots more of these. So time to introduce our first two guests. As you can see, Paul Nicholls, the 14-time champion trainer, is there with Richard Hoiles. Hi, chaps. Now, Paul, how would you describe the weekend? It was sort of ups and downs, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit. That's how racing goes a little bit. We obviously disappointed Ed on Friday with Khalifa Valet, but...
How is he? Is he all right? Has he come out of it?
Fine.
Okay?
He's come out of it fine, yeah, absolutely.
What's your thinking with him now?
To be honest with you, I'm going to keep an open mind and just see how he's over the next couple of weeks and just see. I think probably in hindsight, the ground was quick enough. And they went, obviously they went fairly quick. I think him and JPR both were absolutely flat out. And I think he was a bit shell-shocked, really. I mean, you think his novice chases last season, they were able to dominate in front, hard on the bridle, jump how he liked and just dominate. He wasn't able to do that Saturday. And of course, Friday's on. He had 12 stone, the best part of top weight as well. I think we can take a lot out of that. We can learn a lot, but I'm convinced in my mind that in time he's going to want further. I remember as a juvenile, when he won the Adonis, Harry said he wanted 2.5 then. And we thought last year we went to Sandown, he didn't get 2.5 in heavy ground, but horses weren't running well then. And 2.5 at Sandown in heavy ground is like 3 miles anywhere else. And what we do forget, he's only a 5-year-old in his second season of fences, so it's a tough year for him. But I think in a minute he'll leave all that well behind him. We'll get him back on track. I mean, Potter was a bit of a challenge last season, as you know. They all are. And in Clanders are both second season and Frodons, they were a little bit underwhelming, to be honest with you, at the same age. It's a hard year for them, but look what they did afterwards. And I think he'll follow in their footsteps in time.
And just one more, Jubilee Alpha, who would have won if she hadn't hit 2 out. But you've still got to be delighted with her, haven't you, giving all that way to her?
Yeah, she ran very well. I mean, it was a good day Saturday. That's ups and downs of racing. You know, we had 3 good winners Saturday, one on Sunday. Blue King Drew won well. As you say, Jubilee Alpha was just a little bit unlucky, 12 stone in a good race. She'll learn from that. She got beat on a debut last year at Newbury, just the same sort of thing, made a little bit of an error, but she'll build on that. And yeah, you know, lots of positive Saturday and another nice winner on Sunday. So yeah, horses are going well.
Good. And we're going to look forward to the weekend in just a second, particularly the Paddy Power Gold Cup, and come back later and we'll look at the best bets for the weekend. We're talking on Tuesday evening, so things could change. And Hoiles, we wait to see what the novice chases are going to be like at the weekend. We've had small fields on ITV. We haven't had any of the 3 walkovers, which haven't been great. Where do you stand? A lot of people having their views on novice chases at the moment. Richard, where do you stand on it? Is it just because of the ground?
The ground doesn't help. And if you're being somewhat cynical, matches are likely to deteriorate into walkovers given the change in needing to present one of them at the track. I think if, heaven forbid, if Paul and I were in opposition with one, I think I might just decide I might pull out on the day and we'll all save each other and take a cut of the money. I think Paul might have backed me up on this once before, but I'm very, very surprised that we haven't explored having a separate, in terms of handicaps. When you go handicapping from hurdling to chasing, it's always puzzled me that you can carry your mark over. I just think if we actually made horses have 2 runs over fences before they got their handicap mark, then you'd have to run them over fences in novice races. It would improve the quality of those. Punters would get a chance to see whether or not they can jump. It's always struck me as bizarre that you get your hurdles mark, you run 3 qualifying races, the bumpers play no part in that because it's a different discipline, and yet we take those hurdles marks and run straight over fences. And we've had lots of novice handicaps and various chasing excellence, etc. I just think everyone deserves a chance to give a couple of runs and we can all see where we stand. You might even have rating bands for those novice chases if you want, but they should be level weights. I just think that's always looked to me has been a rather obvious solution. It's sort of what happens in Ireland, and even though they're not always the most competitive, you do get runners.
What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was looking at, I think it was at Nace on the weekend, there was a beginner's chase there and it's full. But basically because I think they have to have 2 runs over fences before they get a handicap mark. So if that happened here, the races are filled because people have got to run. But that's another issue. Going back to the beginners' chases this year, the novice chases, it is an extremely good idea to have these weight for age novice chases because we're finding opportunities for those horses. And the sole problem this autumn has been the weather. Nothing else. Don't kid yourself. The weather. You cannot run like these good. I've had Regents already for a month. I entered them. How the hell can you run him on this ground? They're a great idea. The ground has beat everybody this year, but I do wonder whether a bit of thinking, race plan, and we all get around the table and come up with some better suggestions. Perhaps have these novice beginner chases wait for everybody to go from the middle of November onwards, when we know the ground's going to be okay, and then everybody's burst into run. October and some early November is too early because of the ground, and that's the only thing that's affected it. Otherwise, if the ground had been soft or good as soft, all those races would have filled. They're always going to be on the small side. Horses have to get experience. But I think the ground has been an issue this year, and there must be a bit more thought going into when you put them on.
Okay.
There's a couple of instances of that, Ed, in terms of we had Potence qualifiers, back to back in the course of a week or what have you. I think we just have to accept the West Country is always vulnerable to it with that weekend at Exeter and Wincanton, which of course Wincanton really only just got over the line by the rain they had in the build-up. Just need to accept that our season's going to be truncated into a smaller part. But I do feel sorry for racecourses slightly. They put up prize money for this, and of course they end up going to walkovers. I think there's lots more creative thinking that can occur, as Paul said, to make them start later, but also to ensure that novice chases fill by ensuring horses have to have a couple of runs before they get a mark. Because at the moment, there's a proliferation of novice handicap chases. And if you've got a point-to-pointer, for example, happy days, you get them handicapped over hurdles over 2 miles, and then you start off on your mark over 2.5 and 3, and you're ridiculously well handicapped. And I don't think that should be allowed, really.
Okay, let's look forward to the big race of the weekend. The rain certainly has arrived. The Paddy Power Gold Cup on Saturday, Paul. A race you've got such a good record in. A word about last year, because we've all got to relive it in Champions Full Gallop with Il Ridotto and Freddie. Did you enjoy the way they covered that?
Yeah, I think it was done very well. And obviously, Freddie was a big feature, 18 years old, his first ever big winner on the big stage. And it was a great day. And Horse runs well at that meeting. He loves that track and that time of year in particular. And I think Harry had to ride Ginner's Destiny, which didn't run very well, sadly. As he was stable jockey, he chose him, and it worked very well with Freddie riding him. So that was a great day. And obviously, Rodita's going for trying to do the 2 years on the trot on Saturday. It hasn't been done very often.
Bradbury Star was the last to do it.
Yeah.
A long time ago. It clearly must have been in your mind for a very long time.
Yeah, listen, he's good this time of year, and then he tends to go off in the spring and ends up getting well handicapped. I think he's a pound higher now than he was this time last year. He ran very well at Chepstow on his debut the other day, but obviously he wasn't fully wound up because you make a plan. He seems very well at the moment. He's won on the soft. He won at this meeting, or on this track in January meeting once on very soft ground. He's won 3 times on the soft, but I always thought he was slightly better on better ground. Same for probably everybody. But there's a lot of rain forecast before Saturday that he's going to end. I reckon if the forecast is right, he'll end up soft.
Yes, particularly with the rain coming in on Friday. Hoiles, how do you see this year's Paddy Power Gold Cup?
Well, there's sort of always 2 types of horses you want to think about in handicaps. Il Ridotto fits one of those, which, as Paul's mentioned, is, you win a race early on in the season and then you run enough times to get back to the same sort of mark when you come back the following year. And there'll be other horses in that field that fit that category as well. And then there's the more obvious ones, the improvers, where Jaguar clearly heads that list. When I called him winning unspectacularly at Weatherby off 118 early on in the season, and he just kept reproducing that same sort of performance. He's not overly fluent at his fences. You feel he might be in trouble, and then he surges clear going down towards the last and over the last, and then those little ears get pricked, and you think there's plenty more to come. So that's where a horse like Il Ridotto or others are vulnerable. But the downside, of course, is everybody sees those good form figures. Vincenzo would be another one from Sam Thomas's yard. Punters see the good form figures, and it's harder to extract a decent price. So Jaguar's clearly, I think, in terms of the most progressive in the field, and probably deserves to be favourite. But we're not really sure where his ceiling is yet, to be honest. But they're the two types of horses that you want to concentrate on. And as Paul said, it is literally muddied by the prospect of best part of an inch of rain on Friday. And if you do cover Cheltenham regularly, they have 2 or 3 day meetings, and once it gets turned over there, it won't dry. It'll only go the one way. It might get tacky, etc. But it does make it slightly more complicated anti-post wise, I think.
Okay, both of you stay where you are for a moment, because a little bit later on we'll look at the rest of the weekend's racing. So what about the betting for the big race on Saturday? Michael Shinners from Sky Bet is here. But Michael, I can't start with the racing. The dancing at the weekend. You were involved dancing with Niall Hannity. Tell everyone at home what you were doing, why you were doing it, and how you scored a 10.
Well, I'll start from the last question. I don't know how we scored a 10, to be perfectly honest. We were dancing for Racing Welfare in their Strictly Come Racing. So it was all for Racing Welfare, so a fantastic charity. I think between the southern and the northern version, there was over £100,000 raised.
Fantastic.
Which is awesome. There was some incredibly good dancers. Becky Smith and her partner for the night, Hayley Clements, they won. We actually were tied second, Ed, in the dancing from the judges' votes. And I also had a little dance with James Jordan, which was a brilliant moment and one of the highlights of my career, and I'm sure one for him as well.
And what was your dance, and what did James himself make of it?
It was a cha-cha, or a cha-cha-cha. We're not really sure what it was called, to be fair. He said he'd never seen anything like it. I took that as a positive. He said he called it a car crash, but a car crash where you just have to see what happens at the end. And he said that I think he went a bit sort of X Factor. He said we gave the fun factor, which was good as well. So it was brilliant. We got a few laughs from the audience because William Easterby and his wife Lottie, they're expecting. Hannity also looked like he was expecting in the shirt, which was slightly ill-fitting, but it was fine. It was great. It was really good fun, and there was loads of money raised. And I would encourage anyone, if they get the opportunity, to have a go at it next year, because I believe they're going to do it, to give it a go, because it was great.
Well done, you guys. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I'm very impressed, proud of what you did as well. Should we get back to the racing and the Paddy Power Gold Cup on Saturday? Michael, we're talking on Tuesday evening, so a fair bit could change before people get to see this. But one thing we do know, it's going to be wide open, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very tight. The betting, Jaguar has headed the market for quite a while now, kind of the buzz horse for the Guerra and Greenall team. Il Ridotto up there in the market, but I think there's 2 key things that will sort of make the betting as it is come Saturday. 1, the weather, and 2, will Matata run? If Matata doesn't run, the weights go up. Jaguar all of a sudden is off top weight. And if the weather that is forecast for Friday kicks in, and I know you've spoken obviously to Paul Nicholls, and they'll be very keen that they don't get too much rain for Il Ridotto, there will be some horses lurking who will relish the ground and will probably shorten up in the betting. Couple to highlight, Jolie Smoke, and I had to check that just to make sure I didn't get it wrong. The Skelton horse, that is fascinating. Has run and won over further, so the 2-5, 2-4 at Cheltenham will be ideal. And also Hunter Legend, a horse who currently is out of the handicap for Venetia Williams, but obviously we know Venetia Williams is synonymous with soft ground horses, and all its form is on soft and heavy ground. So that's another one that could be a springer around about 20-25 to 1 at the moment. But yeah, it's a fascinating race, and it's always a crack. And I know we sort of say, oh, this is the start of the jump season, or this is it, but this kind of feels like this weekend is the start of the jump season.
Oh yeah, it goes up a gear or two, particularly with the rain arriving. The problem is it's just going to be lots of it. It makes it a little bit difficult for punting at this stage. Other highlights from the 3 days, Michael, for me will be ITV7. I know they've got some tricks up their sleeve and a possible jackpot jumper to come this weekend. So watch this space for the ITV7 and the jackpots. What else are you looking forward to? John Bond Friday, good betting races on Sunday potentially.
Yeah, John Bon. Always look forward to seeing him, see how he gets on. We've got the Great Wood Hurdle, which is always obviously incredibly competitive and looks even more competitive than the Paddy Power Gold Cup as it stands at the moment. And then at the beginning of the week, on I think it was Tuesday, we saw plenty of money for Con for the David Pipe team. Really interesting horse, this one. Could go down a similar route. I don't know if you remember way back, but Grand Cru, I believe, won the race that this is in. It's also entered at Haydock next Saturday in that fixed brush hurdle race. And that horse will relish the soft ground. So there was certainly money for that horse earlier on in the week. And that will be really interesting to see how that one gets on.
Pipe, November meeting. Remember those days with AP McCoy as well. Michael, thank you so much. In the words of Tess, keep dancing. Jade, Holland Cooper, so good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Joining us. You look great.
Thank you.
Now, listen, where does the November meeting at Cheltenham stand in the social calendar, do you think?
Well, it's in the thick of it. It's right in the peak season for us in retail. So we're right in the middle of autumn, winter, coming up to Christmas, which is sort of our silly season. So it's sandwiched in there, but it's perfect because it's coat season. It's time to get your tweed on. And so, for me, it's really the kickoff of that moment.
I'm not sure if I can pull off tweed, if I'm brutally honest, Jade, but for people going racing this weekend at Cheltenham or any of the big meetings coming up between now and Christmas, what's in? What are your fashion tips?
Be warm. Remember, it's always 10
Stay
degrees
dry.
colder. Stay dry. Look, I think, what I like to think we do at Holland Cooper is do a good fusion of you're going to look great, but you're also going to feel it's going to be practical. So, think about your footwear, do a good block heel if you're wearing a heel. A long coat is great because it's going to look lovely, but it's going to keep you warm. I always put a thermal vest on. I'm always in a roll neck or a shirt and tie, something that's, going to keep you warm, because once you get out onto that race course, you'll know this. Suddenly that wind is cutting through and there's nothing worse than being cold. So, and if you've got something that you're in a box or you're in hospitality, something you can take your coat off and you've got something nice and smart underneath, whether that's a roll neck or a shirt and tie or a waistcoat. I am all about the layering, and we will continue to be so this season.
I think on Friday, Jade, I'll be in about 4 or 5 layers of Holland Cooper because I can't move. You're all right. You can go inside and get warm. I'm stranded. I can't move. I'm tied to my position.
You're in your trusty gilet.
Absolutely. I'll have about 4 of them, I think. I'm so looking forward to it, though, because I missed the showcase meeting. And 2 of the things I loved about it, watching on TV, one was the involvement of Holland Cooper sponsoring a race. And 2, there were so many young there, which was fabulous. Talk us through your relationship with Cheltenham, with racing. And am I right in saying you're now an associate partner with the Jockey Club?
We're moving up the ranks, Ed. I feel like we're moving up the ranks. I mean, look, we've been going to Cheltenham as a brand for 16 years now. So, we really, I feel like, the brand has become synonymous with the race course. It's the home of the brand. It's where we're from. It's where I live. There's so many synergies, and it is a really special race course. But to be an associate partner is lovely because it means that we're expanding across all the race courses. So it's not just Cheltenham now. We can be, present at those other race meets, and that's been important for me, and it's been great, to be with the Jockey Club and going on that journey together.
Fantastic! It's so good to have you guys involved, and it's got me right into what you're up to as well. I love the Icon series.
Oh, thank you.
Mary Berry is the coolest dude in the entire world.
Oh, she's wonderful. Yeah.
I thought that was great. And I love the way you supported King's Trust.
Yeah.
And Change a Girl's Life. I mean, hopefully you raised lots of money. Did you enjoy it all? And has it been a success?
It's been amazing. And look, this is something that we're going to continue. So this wasn't just a few shoots and we're going to stop. This is a series that I want to do that's got longevity, and I want people to be looking forward to, who is the next icon, and trying to represent lots of different people, lots of different women, but also, you know, when we start bringing men in as well. And Mary was amazing to kick it off, but Claire Balding and, you know, just different people that are representing and flying the flag in different ways has been lovely. And then to do that, as you say, with the King's Trust, is such a fantastic charity. I mean,
Oh, what a charity. Honestly, that was so cool. I was so pleased to read that. And I was also watching Traitors thinking, I wonder if Claire's in Holland Cooper today as she went to do the challenge.
And she was amazing as well. You know, she's such a star.
Oh, she's the best. She's a national treasure for sure.
She is. So her and Mary are.
This current racing presenter's terrible in comparison to Claire, honestly. But anyway, you say you live in Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Tell us everything that's going on. You've got Dunkerton's, which I love.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to host things there and raid the butchers and all sorts there. You've got 131. And what's all this about a new headquarters?
So we've got, well, it's nearly finished now. We've built it from scratch. It's 70,000 square feet of custom built head office, which is based just outside Cheltenham, where our current head office is, where Dunkerton's is at the minute. And it's a real thing. You know, I'm really proud of it, actually. It's been a bit of a journey to get there. It's been a massive project to build it. But it's going to be fantastic, and that's going to be our home, our global headquarters, and amazing to base that in Cheltenham. And look, we're all about reinvesting in the town, in the area, bringing jobs into the area in multiple different ways. Dunkerton's has grown massively, you know, from where we were in lockdown to where it is now. We did fireworks the other night with 1,000 people turning up. I mean, it's just amazing. It's a real thing. And Cheltenham races is amazing for the town as well, you know, and it's great for all of our businesses and it's fantastic for the town. You know, we really look forward to it and we really rely on it.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday. Thank you so much for joining us.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
So from the Holland Cooper founder to their supermodel, Harry, do you like that? Ambassador, Holland Cooper. You look very smart when you turn up at the races, but I've also seen you driving a lorry in one of their gilets. It ticks a lot of boxes, doesn't it?
We tick all the boxes, but I wouldn't quite use the term supermodel.
Well, in racing terms, I would say you're an absolute supermodel compared to most of us, 100%. But you drove the lorry in the gilet, didn't you? That was a Holland Cooper number, wasn't it?
Yeah, most likely.
Are you watching Yellowstone?
Saw it about 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With all the cows and everything, it reminds me of you a bit. Who would you be, Casey?
Yeah, I'm not quite a Rip Wheeler, am I?
He's a bit tough for you, I think. Casey's quite cool.
Yeah, I could be a Casey.
I tried to be John Dutton the other day, drinking brandy in the local pub at Ditchit and fell flat on my face. I'm not going to try that again. John Dutton is the absolute nuts, though, I think.
Yeah, he's the best.
So looking after cows, how many would you have in comparison to Yellowstone?
Oh, lots less. So we'd have like a good few hundred all the time. But you know, we're just like the finishing operation. So we basically have them for a short period of time and get them as fat as we can, as quickly as we can. And yeah, I suppose we're one of the last wheels in the cog before they go off to heaven, I suppose.
Yeah, nicely put. You're a very important cog in the jockeys world. Let's talk about this weekend, Harry. 3 days at Cheltenham. What are you looking forward to?
Lots of good rides. Lots and lots of good rides. I suppose the one that I'm most looking forward to is Il Ridoto in the Paddy Power. He obviously won the race last year. He's had a very similar prep. So if he can reproduce something like he did last year, I think he's got a massive chance. He wouldn't be off a much higher handicap mark. I think he's off a similar mark. So yeah, he's ready to go. I suppose the only thing that would worry me is the ground. We wouldn't want the ground getting too soft, but fingers crossed we won't have loads and loads of rain between now and Saturday.
The forecast for Friday is not great, but can you describe that moment? What's it like? You did quite well actually in Champions Full Gallop, that moment when you're on Ginny's Destiny and you see the stablemate disappear off into the distance. Can you describe that without using bad language?
It's slightly depressing, isn't it? But at the same time, we're riding for the same firm. And
do you have to look pleased?
Yeah, we're all sort of trying to, you know, keep it all together. But no, look, it was great for Freddie, great for Paul, and obviously Jeb Mason and all his friends that own the horse.
Tell me, how good could No Drama this end be? Because I'd love the Barbers and Max to have a nice horse, and looks like he's running from what Paul said on Friday.
Yeah, works well. Actually, scored him this morning. So he's had a good preparation. He's still quite a burly horse, big, strong type, but he's fit and ready to go. He's been in for a long time. Obviously, running in a novice hurdle at Cheltenham, first time out in a valuable race like that, it's a big ask, but we hope that he's good enough. And on his homework, he certainly is. So he would be one of, if not our smartest novice this year.
Oh, that's good to hear. Anything else for the weekend? Anything Sunday or anything anywhere else?
No, lots of spares. I ride one for Noel George called Stencil in a novice chase. And then there's quite a few possibilities of getting on some Irish horses as well, but I'm not quite sure what's coming yet and what's not, just because of the weather, and the crossing's going to be quite rough. So they're undecided whether they're coming yet.
Okay, wait and see on that. And just finally, Harry, one that you've sat on, won on, ridden for our viewers to follow for the next few weeks and months, what would that be?
I suppose outside of Paul's Yard, it would be a nice little horse at M. Lavelle's called Marchantou, that actually won a per temps qualifier at Cheltenham at the last meeting back in October. He's quite a fun, nice, lovely horse, and he's improved a fair bit. And going back to Paul's Yard, he's got lots of nice young horses. I actually galloped a lovely cap guard 3-year-old the other day called Roxy Man, who went quite nicely. So he could just be one to look out for possibly later on this season.
Harry, thanks a million. Good luck at the weekend.
Thank you.
Right, Paul, now comes the fun bit. I can see you've tasted it already. Yeah. We're joined by Will Perkins, who's the winemaker at Louis Pommery, England, in Hampshire, Will. Now, I'm a Hampshire disciple, really, and we're known for boats, for Jane Austen, for Downton Abbey. We've got a great football club, just not in the best of shape right now. But sparkling wine, really?
Yeah, and good evening, Ed. It's really a wonderful period for sparkling wine across England, but Hampshire in particular. There are some exceptional producers coming out of this region, and it's really the chalk terroir here that we find so extraordinary to be able to work with here. The vistas, as you'll know well, are sensational, and we profit from those on the estate. But English sparkling wine is in a really wonderful space, and some of the wines coming out of Hampshire are of the highest quality.
Why, if people have a choice, why not go for champagne? Why not go for Prosecco? Why choose English sparkling?
I think the quality speaks for itself. We, as a domestic industry, have picked up some exceptional accolades over the last 10 or 15 years. And that has been received within the global media, within the trade and press as well. And supporting local and supporting English, I think, is a really strong calling card. It's not just from a novelty perspective, but the quality really shines through. And Hampshire as a region has, over the last number of years, really been at the forefront of that.
And you talked about accolades over the last 10, 15 years. What about the last 10 days or so?
We've had a good run.
You've won awards, plural, haven't you?
I've just come back from the Wessex Wine Awards, so the regional wine awards, and we picked up Best Sparkling White there. And then...
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then the largest, or the sort of most prestigious award that the project's received to date was National Champion at the Champagne and Sparkling Wine World Championships, which is always nice, thank you, to get a little doffing of the cap for what you're doing. And we are one of many English sparklings that have really hit some really high heights over the last couple of years.
Right, let's do a wine tasting on Zoom. I'm not sure I've ever done this before, but talk us through it. I've got my glasses ready here.
So we've got two wines.
Are you ready, Paul?
Yeah, I'm ready. I've already been sipping this one for a while.
Paul's on the last glass at the bottom, I think. We're going to look at two wines, the first of which is the Louis Pommery Brut, which is a sparkling white blend. And that features all four varieties that we grow here at Pingleston Estate. We're planted on a 360-degree compass, and so we profit from a whole multitude or kaleidoscope of different aspects. And really the intention behind this wine is to provide, in essence, a bird's eye view of the estate. So the varietal composition in the blend is a direct reflection of the varietal composition in the vineyard to give as true a reflection of place as is possible. So elegance, finesse, and texture are the three hallmarks that we look for within the wines. Chardonnay is the lead variety, so you get a citrus and floral tone that comes through. Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Pinot Gris are the other three varieties. And this is a lees aged for a minimum of 24 months. So look for vibrancy and texture within the wines.
Paul, you're a Somerset man. What do you make of a taste of Hampshire?
This is very good. I've been on my second glass already, and I actually think it's really enjoyable. So we'll try the rosé in a minute, but the white fruit is absolutely delicious.
And really good
the Hampshire chalk, Ed, that you'd be very familiar with, hailing from these parts, is really what gives it the freshness and the sort of vivacious aspect. The mineral spine to it is really what we look to try and capture within the wines.
So then onto the pink, which is this one.
So the Louis Pommery England rosé is in much more limited volumes, and the intention behind this is, rather than looking to capture sort of citrus and floral notes with the brut blend, the white blend, is to really envelop the red fruited notes that we get from the Pinot Noir and the Pinot Meunier. So two red skinned varieties that we farm in the vineyard. And there's a particular section of Pinot Noir that you'll know as a red wine that we vinify as a red and use that as a blending component back into the wine for vibrant red fruited notes, strawberry, raspberry, sort of curranty aspects. And then the Chardonnay can bring some elegance and finesse as well, and some length. The sort of what we term the spine of the wine really comes from the chalk profile that we have, but also the natural acid profile that we have in England, and the terroir we have here really accentuates that.
It's absolutely delicious. You'll see this on my Instagram if No Drama This End wins on Friday.
Yeah, it's been incredibly well received. It's sort of hen's teeth from a volume perspective.
Nicholls has moved on. Which do you prefer for?
Rosé.
Pink or the brut?
That's a good question, actually. That pink is very, very good. I'm not fussy, but they're both very good.
You're very good at your wine tasting. I'm most impressed. Will, thank you so much. That was really
Absolute
important.
pleasure.
Yeah, very good.
Wish you the best of luck. So I'm back with Paul and Richard to look forward to the rest of the weekend at Cheltenham. Starting on Friday, Paul, Isaac Desaubot in the 220, the Novices Chase.
Yeah, he was slightly underwhelming last season. He's had experience. He's run 4 times over fences. He's actually run well at Cheltenham before over hurdles. I don't know why he was like some of us not right, but he's in good shape at the moment. He will love soft ground. He'd be a lively outsider is how I describe it.
Okay, and then a horse I really want to be a really good horse because of who owns him. You'd love to have a really good horse, I imagine, for the Barbers. Max McNeil's one of my favourite people on the planet. And No Drama This End. Are you happy with him going into the race on Friday?
Yeah, I am. He'll look as big as a bull. He's a gross horse. He's took a lot of getting fit. He'll improve for a run, whatever he does, but he's fit enough. He had an away day at Newbury 2 weeks ago, went very nicely. He's done an awful lot of work. He won his only point to point, then he won his bumper very nicely last year at Warwick. Finished in the middle at Cheltenham. We're never too serious about the Cheltenham Bumper Festival. The bump at the festival, he ran okay. He's improved. We were very pleased. Well, Nico de Bonville rode in work last week, and he certainly had a big smile on his face after. And quite impressed with him. But he's got to do it on the track now. And it's a hot race to have you make your debut in over hurdles. But we like him, and we think and hope he'll run well.
Oh, it'd be so good if he was a good horse for those guys. It'd be good fun as well. Richard, going into the weekend, you're good with different stables and trainers. Which stables will you be following?
Yeah, I always think the trainer is the most important wheel in the cog. I know having Paul on rather than Harry at this stage is obviously beneficial, but it's a bit like driving for a Formula One team, isn't it? In the sense that, you know, if you're on the best equipment, then you're going to go well. I think some stables particularly target this time of year before the Irish come over and before the season gets into full swing. So 3 stables that are making good fists of things at the moment. Anthony Honeyball, who of course had Gustavian win with us at Badger Day the other day, but it's by no means been a one-horse stable this autumn. He's got Lord Baddesley potentially on Friday in the 145, and leave of absence half an hour later. Both of those are interesting. And Jordan's Cross on Sunday as well. Sam Thomas, who often makes a quick start. I think he identifies these races as being winnable at this time of the season. It's just a really nice horse in Steel Ally the other day up at Carlisle. He has Vincenzo in the Paddy Power. He also has Celtic Dino in the Greatwood, who I think is particularly interesting. He's got interlocking form lines with Alexi, and that looks like particularly solid form going into that big handicap. And Jamie Snowden, who is beginning to establish a really nice bunch of horses. He places them well. They travel up north quite a bit. He has a filly called Saphos World who runs in the bumper on Saturday, and Admiral Stewart on Sunday in the 145. So those 3 yards I would have positives about from a stable persptive. A couple of queries. I was quite surprised. It's probably a statistical quirk, but Ollie Murphy, I don't think has ever saddled a winner at the November meeting. I think he's 0 from 25 with 5 seconds, and I think Venetia Williams might be the same, 0 from 20 with 5 seconds. Now, obviously, there's plenty of seconds there, but that's of interest.
Lady Rebecca never won at the November meeting. I suppose she won in December, didn't she?
Yeah, I believe so. Again, I've checked it as much as I can on my database, but it doesn't appear so. And Ollie was obviously quite surprising stat. He was unlucky. You remember Gunsight Ridge came down last year when he was closing on Matata, so he must just feel that's. I'm sure these trainers are well aware of all these stats. He must just feel that he's gone into that meeting in such good form before. And just one slight concern about the stable that often do well from Ireland at this meeting, Gavin Cromwell. 1 from 41 in November, and that one ended a losing sequence of nearly 60. Now, it may well be they're capable of turning the form and they'll switch, but that would be cause for concern for me. As Paul, I'm sure, knows, it can be really frustrating when you're on that sort of long losing sequence. You're not quite sure. You're not doing anything different. They're just not running well. But there were a couple of slightly surprising stats for stables that I would have expected to have done better with, particularly the Ollie Murphy one, I think.
You'll hear the Ollie Murphy one on ITV, I can assure you.
They always win straight away after you said them. So, but I think they are sort of factually correct. A couple of interesting horses. Happy Go Lucky I like. Mel Rowley's horse is running better this year. And he's always been a fragile horse, even when he was with Ken Bailey. Ran really well.
You tipped that horse for the festival, didn't you?
The 3 mile
the Ultimate,
race at the festival, the Ultimate. But if it does come up soft, then that will help over 2.5, which might otherwise be on the sharp side. And a potentially interesting horse with Master Chewy, who is actually a novice over hurdles, I think, and actually runs, or potentially runs, in the Albert Bartlett on the Friday at 3:30. It completely escaped my attention that he was still a novice over hurdles, and he comes there with a very lofty rating on his chase mark, 150 odd. He hasn't run over hurdles for ages, so that was an interesting bit of placing, I thought.
And just to finish with then, chaps, Paul, your best for the weekend can be anywhere because you're running a few on Sunday elsewhere. What's the best for Ditchit over the 3 days?
It's always a tough racing, obviously. But I actually think that Il Rodito's got a big chance. We've trained him for the race. He's good this time of year. He's on the right handicap mark, which is what you want, and he's got great course experience. So I'd say Il Rodito.
Excellent. Very good luck, and that'd be magic to have back-to-back wins in that race. Halsey, 2 questions for you. The best of the weekend from what you've given us, and John Bon, yes or no?
I think John Bon is a yes. He's won the race twice in the past. I know he's always had that sort of slightly checkered career with Cheltenham. Matata might be the one that is slightly over the odds if he takes that engagement in the Schlur rather than going the handicap route, which seems likely. As regards to best, I think Celtic Dino probably in the Greatwood. I know it's a competitive race, but I don't want to chip something short. But I would be keeping an eye, as I say, when the decks are fully established for Anthony Honeyball, Sam Thomas, and Jamie Snowden and Sam with Celtic Dino. I thought that was a pretty good form line with Alexi, and that might stand up pretty well.
I'll go for no drama this end with head and heart on Friday. Paul, we'll see you. Yeah. We'll see you both there at Cheltenham on Friday. Thanks so much.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Ed.
Well, that was good fun. I hope you enjoyed it at home. If you did, please like and subscribe to our content on the C Sports Media YouTube page. There's lots of other things there, behind the scenes content and also, so check that out. And all that's left for me is to thank our guests this evening, to Paul Nicholls and Richard Hoiles and Harry Cobden and Michael Shinners and Will at one of our partners, Louis Pommery England. Thank you to them. And also to Holland Cooper and Jade, who came on and spoke to us about all things fashion at Cheltenham. We look forward to seeing hopefully lots of you at the November meeting this weekend. Bye-bye.